Hey, it's Kelby Ray, and today I'm going to teach you the basics of reading tablature. For those of you who may be new to the term tablature, or tab for short, it's a numerical way of showing you where to put your fingers on the fretboard. It shows you where to put your fingers on the guitar. My very first guitar book, which I still have, taught me what it was. The first song I learned was Jingle Bells, and before I knew it, I was playing Metallica. Tabs are so important to learn for guitarists because it provides an accessible way to learn songs, riffs, solos, everything. Okay, you ready? Let's go. Okay, it's time for the basics. First of all, when you look at a guitar tab, this is what you see. You see 6 lines. It'll usually say tab on the left side. Each line represents one of the 6 strings on the guitar, is what's going on here. It's almost like a musical staff that you see with 5 lines, but this is different. This has 6 lines that represent each line of the guitar. But you might be thinking, which string is the high string, which string is the low string? Well, I've got a visual aid that I think might help. Here you go. Here's a guitar. The strings are laid out like this. If you drew a guitar around the tab as illustrated in my awesome drawing, you'll see the highest line represents the thinnest string, also known as the first string, and the lowest line is the thickest string, also known as the 6th string. Just remember, high for high string, low for low string. That's the main thing to memorize. High for high, low for low. Just picture the guitar laid out like this over the tab, and that's how it works. So in standard tuning, the lowest string is E, this string is the A, this string D, this string is a G, this string is a B, and the first string, the top string, is the high E. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 is low, 1 is high, high string, low string. Memorize this beautiful guitar. Now that we understand the way the strings are laid out, let's talk about the numbers. Okay, so how does this work? So the low line represents the low E string. The high line represents the high E string. So the zeros mean play the string open. So if we were going to play the low string open, the low E, if we wanted to play the A string open, it's going to have a 0. D, G, B, and E. And these are represented in quarter notes on the bars here, but we'll get to that later. What about the numbers above 0? That's easy. The numbers on the lines represent the fret number to play on that string. Here's a few examples. All right, so let's go down to the next bar down here. So if you see a 1 on the B string, or the second thinnest string, remember how the lines are laid out? That just means play the first fret on the second string. So this note here is a C, the first fret on the second string. Sounds like this. Now, let's play the second fret on the 4th string. So let's go down to the 4th string, counting from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. This represents the 2nd fret on the D string. Sounds like this. Now, if we go down to the 5th string and play the 3rd fret, it would sound like that. 3rd fret, 5th string. Now we know how to play individual notes, but what if we want to play a chord? How does that work? If we played the 3rd fret on the 5th string, the 2nd fret on the 4th string, the 3rd string open, and the 1st fret on the 2nd string, if we played those individually, all of a sudden you can see it sounds like a C chord. How do we write that? So we would go and stack them on top of each other like this. 3, 2nd fret, open string, 1st string. So if you played those 4 strings in the middle here, there is a C chord, which sounds like this. Now you could put the open E on top, and that is also a C chord, just with an extra string. Pretty cool. If you're enjoying this video so far, click the like button if you don't mind, and if you want to see more of my videos, hit the subscribe button. Now that we've got a solid understanding of reading tabs, let's spice it up a bit. These next techniques are going to add flavor to your playing. The first ones you're going to encounter in tabs are going to be hammer-ons, pull-offs, and bends. A hammer-on is a technique that allows you to produce a new note by tapping your finger onto a higher fret without picking that second note. It's a cool technique to learn. Once you're comfortable with single note playing, it's probably going to be one of the first things that you come across. Let's say you play the 5th fret on the 3rd string, then played the 7th fret on the 3rd string. That sounds fine, but what if you played this fret, the 5th fret, and hammer on to the 7th fret without picking the second one? It's a little bit different. Creates kind of a smooth transition between the notes. This is how it would look in a tab. There's your hammer on from the 5th to the 7th fret. You'll see it with an H. H for hammer on. You hear the difference between those? Hear Hear the difference? It's slight, but it'll make a huge difference as you develop your own way of playing, also known as phrasing. Next are pull-offs. It's like a hammer-on, but reverse. So instead of going from the 5th fret to the 7th fret, we're going to go from the 7th fret to the 5th fret. We're going to let go. This is how it looks in a tab. So P, what do you think that means? Pull off. And then you can tell it's just the reverse of the bar before it. Here's a hammer-on. Here is a pull-off. Next are bends. Bends involve pushing or pulling the string across the fret to change the pitch of the note. In my opinion, it's the most important expression you can make in your playing. It takes some time to perfect, but it's going to really help out your playing a whole lot. There's a lot of different types of bends, but we're just going to focus on the whole step bend. So let's go back to the 5th fret on the 3rd string. And try bending it. I like to push up towards me. Try to bend it up to match this pitch like we did on the hammer-on, but try to bend it to match that same note. That's called a whole step bend because we're going up a whole step. Let's look at it on the tab. So right here on the 9th fret, we've got this bend. It's got this little line, the little swoop that says full, so that means full step bend. So 5th fret, bending it up. Let's make this a quarter note. Draw it out a little more. You can hear that? That's how it's going to look on a tab. Okay, so we've covered the basics of tablature and how to read the fret numbers, but there's one aspect that we need to talk about, and it's rhythm. Unlike traditional sheet music, tabs don't always show the rhythm or how long to play each note or chord. Tabs are going to focus mainly on where to play, not necessarily how long to play. But you might encounter a chord progression or a riff, and without any rhythmic notation, it becomes a little bit of a puzzle. Let's check it out on the tab. So luckily, this program that I use, Guitar Pro 8, these lines that are coming off of the numbers, I was going to turn it off to show you how it would look without any rhythmic notation, because sometimes you'll see tabs with just numbers and no lines, no rests like this here. But this program, it automatically puts it in. So these straight lines, you may see this in some magazines with tabs in them, some books. These are quarter notes here. These are going to be 8th notes. But you might not see that. Over here, there's that C that's just a quarter note. It's red because I didn't fill it in rhythmically correctly over here, but that's okay. So you might not see these on all tabs, but luckily it just puts them in automatically on this one, so it kind of helps with the rhythm. But if you don't see any rhythm, just try to play along to the song the best you can, and you'll get better at it with practice for sure. Sites like Ultimate Guitar are free and aren't bad, but sometimes the transcriptions are just lousy. People don't really know what they're doing. Be careful with these. Don't hesitate to try to use your ear and come up with your own way of reading the tab, because it might not be exactly right. Listen to the original track and try to match the rhythm. Guitar Pro 8 is the latest one. It has great tabs under the My Songbook subscription. I use it in my lessons. It's actually pretty cheap and comes with a ton of songs. The software Guitar Pro is a little bit more expensive, but the subscription's pretty cheap. But the tabs are very accurate, and you can separate them into different tracks and different instruments. It's pretty cool. Or go to your local music shop, find a book with tabs in them, and whatever interests you, grab it. Or look online and order something that fits your current playing level and what you're interested in at the moment. Okay, so let's put this all together down here on this 10th bar right here. So let's say we hammer on with that 5th fret to 7th fret, and then we'll play the 3rd fret on the 2nd string, and then the 3rd fret on the high E string. I'm just kind of writing this as I go. Open E, 1st fret, open. How about 3rd fret here, and then end on a C chord. Let's just play those three. Let's do the whole thing. Let's make that a whole note so it won't yell at me. Let's see what that would sound like. It's going to sound pretty basic, but just to try it, actually let's do, we didn't do a pull off, did we? So let's do 3, pull off to the open here. So you might see something like this. Let's see what this sounds like. A little weird, but you get the gist. So we've got, 8th notes right here, just one bar, and then a whole note right here. That full C chord, but it might sound something like this. How about we bend this here? Let's bend it a whole step. Let's just see what it sounds like. A nice little happy little melody. So that you might see something like that on a tab, and that's how you would read it right there. You'll encounter a lot more about tabs once you get into them, but this is a great place to start. So there you have it. Now you have a basic understanding of how tablature works and how to use it in your guitar playing. Thanks for checking out my channel. Remember to have fun, keep on jamming, and we'll see you next time. Peace.